लोग क्या कहेंगे?
Right.
This should have been my Sameera Reddy tagline of 10 years ago. Sameera Reddy, log kya kahenge? That's all I was interested in.
Hello and a very, very warm welcome to our 10th episode of Clarity Amidst Clutter. Yes, we are turning 10 today and we have a very special guest with us for the 10th episode and we'll get right into it. She's had a commendable journey. You have known her as, she was known to be Pankaj Udas's girl and now she identifies as Messy Mama. That's been quite a journey for her, I'm sure, and we're going to chat with her and get to know more about that journey. And well, welcome to you, Sameera Reddy. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
No, thank you so much for having me.
We just want to look into how social media has become such a big part of not just the industry, but of everything. And I think you've become an icon right now when we talk about social media. I mean, I have checked in your account. I found myself sitting and scrolling through your reels for hours. They're so entertaining, so nice. Let's start with an introductory session where you tell me about the transformation from, like I said, Pankaj Udas's girl to being a part of the industry and now to being Messy Mama. How has that
So,
journey been? How has that shift been?
like any actress, I came on board with the big dreams.
Mm,
And the one thing to concise it all is to make it in the film industry, you
mm,
have to pretty much put everything in the back seat. Your
right.
friends, your family, yourself. You package yourself in different ways. You literally fight tooth and nail to make it in
Mm,
a extremely dog eat dog world, which is the film world, right?
mm,
I did it all,
mm,
and I think what happened is after I got married, I had kids, I had postpartum, everything hit. What hits
mm,
is that a woman has so much expectations of herself because the society does that to us, right? Hey, you
right.
can't age, you can't have gray
Absolutely.
hair,
Mm,
how successful you are, or you've had
mm,
kids now, are you going to have another kid, or are you not going to have a kid, or how much money do you make, or did you leave your career, or do you sit at home not tend to your kids, or do you tend to your kids and not go and work, or do you work and leave them alone? These are so many questions that I guess people grapple with. And what
never
happens
ending
is
questions.
it's
Absolutely.
never ending.
Mm,
And for me, what happened is after having a really successful career,
mm,
I suddenly found myself lost because I suddenly was overweight. Um, I guess I didn't have an identity. People
mm,
associated me with that person, with the successful hot actress, and I
mm,
didn't know what to identify myself with. And that's
right.
what I'm getting to, which is the pressure of social media,
Mm,
the pressure of society, the pressure on a woman to deliver and over deliver because she's expected to, right?
right.
Even though she sits at home and people say you should be a homemaker, there are so many other expectations and saying, oh, you know what, but even a housewife, people say, what is she doing? My God, she's like a CEO of a house. That's good enough. Which comes to messy mama, which is what I sort of call myself today, wherein you're the jack of all trades because it's the only way you can survive.
Right.
And I went from having an entourage of like a makeup artist and like a manager and a hairdresser and God knows what to today, standing with my selfie stick
Mm,
and my ring light as my partner
mm,
and creating reels where I'm the director, editor, makeup artist, kuch bhi bolo, at the same time, two children in my face, trying my best. And there, I guess, was born out of pure luck and hard work, Messy Mama, that is here to just have
right.
fun and enjoy life and call it out and tell women that, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to have flaws and we're here and we're going to have fun with it.
Right, right. That's really a very, very insightful journey for that matter. I mean, I'm sure you've gone through a lot. I've gone through your interviews otherwise as well. And yes, your journey is quite like it's not just a transformation, but I mean, I'm gonna come to the changes in the technicalities of that transformation later. But as a human being, as an individual, there's a lot that changes in your personality as you grow up and like evolve in your own life, in your own space. And yes, your priorities in life end up changing. There are things you end up realizing eventually as you go ahead in life. And I think that was very well put in that entire light. But when you talk about identities, social media, like you said, we have this, you have your identity of messy mama in social media, right? And how do you think, how has it been different for you to, stand up to that, play up to that? And how has it been different from when you used to be Sameera Reddy, the actress? What has the shift been like? Like, is it more stressful? I'm sure being
I
an
was
actress,
about to say, if I sum it up in one word, it's liberating.
it is
It's
liberating.
liberating to just make a video without thinking, oh, my double chin is going to show. Oh, can
Right.
they see my pimples? Oh my God, I've got this fat sticking out.
Hmm.
I am freely acting. I am freely just being myself. Why are the reels funny? Why is
Hmm.
the content working?
Hmm.
Because it's real. Because it's honest and it's from my heart. I I'm telling you, there are moments where it's caught me in the most awkward, not so pretty angles, but
Hmm.
it works for that particular shot because it's pushing the whole point of what I'm trying to get across. Whether it's a
Right.
hard hitting content of body shaming, or
Hmm.
whether it's
Hmm.
really humor stuff with my mother-in-law that is completely ridiculous. I
Sakshi
think that's
Sasu,
where,
yes.
yeah, and I think that's what worked. What's worked
Right.
is just dropping those inhibitions, which is log kya kahenge.
Right.
This should have been my Sameera Reddy tagline of 10 years ago. Sameera Reddy, log kya kahenge. That's all I was interested in. I was only
I
interested
think
in
that
what.
absolutely suits you right now. Like the personality we've seen on social media, absolutely right. लोग क्या कहेंगे?
And I think that today I'm very honest about the fact that if somebody judges me or thinks that I'm not up to the mark or their mark, it's their opinion. And
Right.
that's what I keep propagating to women because I hit a point when I entered
Hmm.
social media where I felt really crap about myself.
Hmm.
And that's what social media can do. It can make you question
Absolutely.
your goals and your success and your beauty and your
Hmm.
age and your marriage because you're like, wow, these people are so happy. Breaking news, they're not. It's
I'm
just
just gonna come
purely,
to that. Yes. Hmm.
yeah. So the
Absolutely.
grass is always greener on the other side. I
Hmm.
choose to
Hmm.
bring it to the other side, which is I'm like, the grass is dead, but it's going to rock and it's going to grow again. And this is how we do it. That's where the difference is. And that's why
Hmm.
today I feel free. I feel alive. I'm grateful. If there's anything I should be grateful to social media for bringing this out.
I think you very rightly said in the past that this is your second innings.
Yes,
The second innings, our tagline is "Live, let live."
exactly.
Absolutely. I
Because
mean,
because I'll
hmm.
tell you, the only person who struggles is you,
Hmm.
and when you are in that struggle, the only person who will get you out is honestly yourself.
Right.
And
Hmm.
I choose to look at social media as inspiration. There are days even
Right.
I feel low, I feel
Absolutely.
not
Hmm.
good. And
Hmm.
instead of looking at it in a bad way, I want to look at it in a good way. But unfortunately, there's a lot of content that is not really about making you feel good. And that's what I'm trying to go after. And I'm trying to say, you know what, you can make fun content, you can have
Hmm.
fun with yourself, you can also reach your goals. It's not that if you get to this particular point of money or success or children or marriage or whatever, you'll be happy. You need to find that happiness right now.
Right, right. Like right now, if I were to circle back to what you just were talking about, which is the identity that social media gives you. I mean, initially like you just mentioned that it becomes very overwhelming and intimidating. And yes, we do talk about this a lot about how, people know what they're consuming there isn't always true. And what happens is it ends up making you, or like, making you push yourself to a point where you're like, I want that kind of a lifestyle, which on the other hand, the person who's making that content might actually not be living that lifestyle as well. It might be, it might completely be a separate identity that that person has made in this age, because social media has evolved so much and it's become such an important tool, such an important platform for people to come and, I mean, not just promote themselves, but even just to connect with the rest of the world and just to remain relevant for that matter. Like even right now in the industry, there are such big names, there are, or big brands for that matter, doesn't need to restrict itself to the industry. Everybody is running to social media influencers for their promotions. That's how it has turned around right now. That's
Yeah.
how powerful social media is. In such a particular scenario, when you talk about social media being liberating for you right now, how do you look at it this way? Well, in the sense that, you know, you aren't building up an image for your audience, you are providing them what you are in your daily life, right?
True.
But how exhausting does that get on a daily basis, like to maintain that constant, you know, connect with the people, or, you know, give them what they want? I mean, after a particular point, like right now, you've become big on social media, you have that responsibility of people who are following you, and here people aren't
Hmm.
following characters of yours that you,
Yeah, it's
like
true.
back in
Yes.
movies there were characters that you would be playing, that you would be promoting, but here it is Sameera Reddy in her particular style, in her full
Interesting.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How does that
there
work?
is, so, this sounds bizarre, but I actually make content whenever I feel like. So there are many times I just go off the radar, and if you see I'm off, it's
Right,
because I'm just not in the mood. Uh,
right.
I spit out that content usually as
Hmm.
my own expression.
Right.
So that's the difference. The difference
Hmm.
is that, and by the way, everything is shot and edited by me because I love
That is
directing.
incredible. That
I
is
love
absolutely
editing.
incredible.
Editing is my most favorite pastime. It's like I can take videos and just yummily sit and try to edit them, and that would excite me more than
Hmm.
I don't know, going for a walk, which is so bad. But the beauty is
Right.
that I
Hmm.
know when to step back. I know when
Right.
to step off the phone. I know when to have fun with the kids. I know that when it could be getting to me. I know that when certain brands come to me, I am going to say no to them because, in the beginning, I little bit was confused as to how to handle it. Now I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
if you don't understand the real space that
Hmm.
I'm selling, then we're not going to
Absolutely.
be able to
Hmm.
get this done.
Hmm.
I also, uh, I make content as a sense of expression. So, for example, if you see Sassy Sasu and Messy Mama,
Hmm. Hmm.
it was born out of the fact that we were getting on each other's nerves during the pandemic.
Right. Right.
I mean, we were driving each other up the wall, but weren't most of us driving each other up the wall anyways in our households because we were stuck in this space. And I literally was like, what do I do with her? Because we're fighting over rotis and chapatis and who's cooking what, who's cleaning what, can't bear,
Hmm.
can't deal. And I made a video on how she makes fun of me cutting onions because I cut onions very badly. And I realized that people could see that, and I had a
Hmm.
way of expressing my anxiety,
Hmm.
and that's where it started from. So
Hmm.
let me just put it this way. Whenever I'm making a funny video with Sassy Sasu, it's almost a way to enjoy and change the narrative of how Sasus are looked at and how the
Right.
Babus are looked
Hmm.
at in India.
Hmm.
Similarly, when I talk about body and what I go through is because even at my age of 44, after
Hmm.
losing weight, after everything, I still have massive body issues. And it's because
Right.
of years of conditioning. It's
Hmm.
because of
Hmm.
years of being feeling like I'm a big girl and I'll never. So these
Hmm.
are my own issues
Hmm.
that when I talk about it in a reel, I'm healing.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it makes sense. So when
No, no,
it comes from
absolutely. Hmm.
when it comes
Right.
from such a real space, because
Space.
Instagram is me, I guess that's what people connect. I'll put a post up and I'll say, I struggle with this part of my body. Which part do
Hmm.
you struggle with? And you should see how people
Hmm.
just come in,
Right.
there's an outpour.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. So I think that's what's real, and I
Hmm.
always step back. If I'm not feeling it, it will not. There's nothing. I'll go quiet.
That's the line you draw. That's the line you
That's the
draw.
line I
Hmm.
draw. And
Right.
most importantly, there are so many times I just step back because I do realize that my creative process comes from stepping back and watching and understanding people. So I actually read a lot of my own DMs, and
Right.
I understand what is there, and I understand everything from happiness to pain to anxiety to what's going on in their mind. And somehow I come back with something that I realize that's the need of the hour.
Right.
So these are the ways I do it. I don't have a plan.
I
I
mean,
don't have a
honestly, at this point, it sounds like a guide
It
to.
is.
It
It is
is. It is
because I
absolutely a guide to how to, like, maneuver around with social media when you're creating content.
true. Like I literally put things from my heart. I
Hmm.
whenever something funny is because I'm feeling like I need a laugh. Whenever there's like a
Right.
food thing is because I saw something tasty and I want to make it. But isn't
Right.
that what social media should have been in the first place?
Absolutely. I
And
mean,
that's
gone are the days when Facebook used to be a platform where people used to share their memories. It's no longer that. It's become a hustle and almost like a competition of sorts. Ki, no, I
because
do
there's
better.
so much money.
Hmm.
And that's
Oh,
the
yes.
game, right? And housewives are being able, in influencers are being able
Hmm.
to earn money sitting at home. And how powerful is that? But
Absolutely.
but I always say the business side is a beautiful side. It's a very empowering, uplifting side. But at the
Right.
same time, learn to strike that balance of why you got on in the first place. And
Right.
if you're showing this side of you, let it be not something that can destroy you in that
Hmm.
endeavor to
Hmm.
please, to
Hmm.
get the numbers, to get that money and that
Absolutely.
success and that adulation. So let's go back to where it all began and
Hmm.
strike that balance. And I say this many a time, to
Hmm. Hmm.
moms who message me and say, I want to do something. And I'm always like, be unique. The
Hmm.
one thing that you think is not working for you can be the
Hmm.
thing that works for you.
For you. Absolutely, absolutely. That's very enlightening for that matter. But also, I must say that the way you describe this, the whole how you ended up creating Sassy Sasu out of like your pandemic. I mean, if only people back in the days thought of these methods to cope up in these situations. Imagine an entire genre of Indian Bollywood or even television wouldn't have existed, which is the Sasbahu Sasbahu equation. Absolutely, it would have
Absolutely.
taken a
And my
completely
mother-in-law, I
different
have to
turn.
say, Sassy Sasu today, I recently read something where they put her on the map with Zeenat Aman and Dimple Kapadia as
Oh
that age
wow!
group that's shining on Instagram, and I was gonna cry. I was like, oh my god, like 3 years
Oh wow!
ago she was single, divorced, sitting at home and just quietly painting, and nobody knew about her. And today she is doing influencing, and she just recently shot for Estee Lauder. So
Oh
it's like,
wow!
yeah, I'm just like, who's this woman, man? And what I like is that we
Hmm.
don't we as a community
Hmm.
always, and I say for women who are in their 60s,
Hmm.
70s, 50s, we need to be glamorizing and the fact that aging can be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Hmm.
That's where
Absolutely.
I love the whole Sassy Sasu and Messy Mama angle, because I don't want the Gen Z or the millennials to think, oh my God, what are we walking towards? You're walking towards a very happy, better you that knows what you don't want.
Right.
That's what you're
Right.
walking towards.
I think that shows in the kind of content you push out on your social media because there's a level of genuinity that's there, that's constantly there, which is why I think she's been put on the map as well because people recognize her not as just another influencer, but I think that's the most important, the key element that drives social media is
Yeah.
relatability, like
Yes,
how people relate to the particular content that they're watching out there.
true.
And I mean, on a personal note, how has your relationship been with her, or even for that matter, with your daughter or your kids? Because I've seen that other hashtag is also there, naughty Naira.
Yes.
Right.
So,
So how
the
is,
kids don't really know
hmm,
what's going on, and they're very
I'm sure
sweet
they're too
about it. And
young to know that, right?
no, like my son now gets it, but
Hmm.
my daughter to just so people don't understand this, but when I even shoot them, it's very natural.
It's a
It's
fun
never,
activity for them.
it's
It's just
yeah,
another
it's
time they're spending with you,
yeah, it's never
another memory.
about ye karo, pick this up, do this,
Ah,
and I
it's
sometimes
very
see that.
natural.
Yeah, I sometimes see that on other people's thing, and I'm like, wow, I don't think I'd have the guts to tell them to do something.
Right.
Because I don't wanted them to get into this groove of acting for the camera. So usually the fun reels that have come out very naturally from moments that have just happened in my camera happens to be up. Because I usually take a lot of footage because I want them to have it when they grow older.
Right.
And so
Right.
in that endeavor, I had footage and then I ended up cutting it in a very fun way and it ended up doing really well. But interestingly, so people come to me at airports and they're like, oh my God. And I always say, sorry, don't mind, but just don't tell the kids. My kids have not opened Instagram. They don't open my phone.
That's great, actually. That's great.
Yeah. And my son actually now comes and tells me, Mama, in school, sometimes they talk about something. And I'm just like, no, I know. I mean, I have to slowly like break it to him. And he's very confused as to why people come up to them. He doesn't get it. He's just like, what's happening? But he's become, now he understands it and he's cool about it. In fact, he asked me, he's like, so why did you stop acting? And he said, Mom,
how did that conversation go?
It was very interesting. He said, why did you stop acting? Because my friend in school told me about it. And I said, I stopped acting because I had you and I wanted to be home with you. So he gave me the go ahead. And he said to me, but now I'm 7 years old and I think you can go ahead because I don't mind and I'll take care of Naira.
That's one mature kid out there for sure.
That's sweet.
It's so sweet. Simply the gesture of it, it's so sweet. And I'm sure as a mother, you must have felt top of the world at that point. Just that kind of support coming in from him.
I was extremely touched about it.
Absolutely. I get it. Now, coming back to another part of what we were just discussing, you spoke about how now when you get sponsorships of different products, you don't end up, jumping into it without knowing what the product is. And this is something we've seen very often on social media as to how people end up, doing paid partnerships with different brands or different companies. And the point is, the only difference here on social media is here you're portraying yourself as yourself. You're not playing a character, like I mentioned before. So do you think that's where the responsibility amplifies a bit and it should be, in their conscience that we should know what we are promoting out there?
So I'll tell you, interestingly enough, I wasn't this conscious of my brand promotions when I was acting. Right. In fact, I was very disconnected. I used to do things because, chalo, like my manager said, oh, this brand has come, the money is great, let's do it, done. Today is very different, not just because of the responsibility of the fact that it's my page, but also because having children changes the game. Right. I'm very clear that if I'm not giving my children this, I cannot put it up. Like, for example, a lot of mothers don't give their kids sugar. I do give my kids sugar sometimes. They enjoy their chocolate. I have a balanced life for them. I'm not one of those pure healthy mothers. I'm just not. And I say it. I'm not one of those no TV mothers. I'm like, how are Jake Pura Dekho? Enjoy everything balanced. So interestingly enough, when I choose brands, I will always choose it in a way, will I open and put it in my mouth? Right. As a mother. If I eat it, then that means it's good enough for my kids. And if I feel it's okay, it's okay. Having said that, not everybody does that. And that is their choice. But for me, it's very honest about the fact that would I use it? Will I give it to my kids? That is my responsibility. And if you see it on my page, that means I'm okay if my children are having it. Also, interestingly, I'll tell you the most amazing things have been discovered for me through branding. I have discovered.
Go ahead. We would love to hear some examples.
Like, for example, there's a certain milk powder which I would have never given my kid because I didn't even know about it. And I have done an ad for them and I've read their ingredients during the ad. And when the ad also, I'm like, damn. And then the family just shifted to that milk powder because ghar mein pada tha. Bachche ko acha laga, healthy hai, and they're having it. So interestingly, that lot of things that come home for me for branding or checking end up becoming a staple in the house because we've actually liked it. And then so it's not that I've used it and I'm doing an ad. Sometimes I've been
Right.
introduced to it and I like it, and now it's become a staple in my house. You know?
Right, right.
And there are
I
brands
mean,
like West Side that I actually
right.
shop at all the time. And
Hmm.
I think that they ended up seeing the fact that I had so much West Side going on my page. And today I've been their brand ambassador for 2 years. And that
Right.
happened because they saw it. I'm one
Hmm.
big West Side, like I love the brand. So the synergy is sometimes because I use the stuff and they've seen it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes they think I'm a right fit and then I
Right.
want it.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, also one more thing now that you spoke about this. So, a lot of people in the industry currently, I mean, especially with OTT coming in, there's no dearth of actors. Like, there are plenty of them, new talent coming in. And a lot of them I've seen, they have been accepted in their own shell
Yes.
on social media way more than when they've been acting. So, but for you, you've already had a very successful career in the past. And
Mm.
right now, you've ventured into something new through social media. So, have you, like, what do you think in your position, particularly currently in this particular situation? How do you think? Do you think you're positioned better than somebody who is in the industry and who's now started catching up on this? Oh, I need to get on social media to, promote myself because I'm doing better there. People are accepting me more in my element there
Mm.
than on screen. Do you think you have an upper hand there?
You know, it's funny. I keep saying this when I entered social media. I'm going to say this. I was looked upon as, oh my God, Sexy Sam is back and lost. This was literally how I was made to feel because
Really?
I had no idea how the game worked, and I
Hmm.
just didn't understand it.
Right.
But that's where I come to. It was a game. And I didn't appreciate that game because I do
Hmm.
believe that the only thing that's kept me balanced till now is the fact that we all are moving, and I mean,
Hmm.
it sounds very philosophical, but
Hmm.
you, me, and even a Priyanka Chopra, for that
Yeah.
matter,
Hmm.
all of us are moving on parallel paths, but in the
Absolutely.
same
Hmm.
direction of positivity.
Absolutely. Hmm. Definitely. Hmm.
And there's space for everyone.
Hmm.
And I say this out loud. There's
Right.
space for everyone because in my affirmations, I'm going to do well, and so are you, and so is she, and so is
Hmm.
he.
Hmm.
So, in that, it's never about the upper hand. It's
Hmm.
about what at that moment you feel can make good work for you. At that
Right.
moment, I couldn't get back into film because I was having babies. Felt like I didn't have an identity. And then it
Hmm.
helped me get back onto my feet and become what I wanted to. And social media actually enhanced it.
Hmm.
That being
Right.
said, as I said, that for me is a whole parallel path going on.
Hmm.
And if I get back into OTT, which right now, I mean, I don't have the jigger in me to leave the children and go. And every day
Right.
I question myself and I get so many offers and I'm
Hmm.
trying and I'm hoping
Hmm.
that I'll be able to completely recreate something that I could never have created 10 years ago. Because 10 years
Right.
ago, everyone was just in that dusky, light eyes,
Hmm.
brown skin, small clothes, sexy avatar, which I could never have broken. Today, I can play powerful women-oriented roles that can be accepted because 90% of women on my page are women. And I mean, people
Right.
on my page are women and they are ready for it. I think women in general, and
Right.
especially the community and the tribe with me, have
Hmm.
allowed me to
Hmm.
enter that space. And I will
Hmm.
make sure when I go to OTT that I will sing in that space because that is what
Hmm.
I feel will make me happy.
Absolutely. I think that's very true, definitely. For that matter, in fact, social media, I think, has become a tool. I mean, it always depends on how you end up using a particular platform. For you, this was your story. This was a very powerful story that you've lived through. And this has changed your narrative completely in life, wherein now and also I've seen the audience in itself, there's a difference in the kind of approach that they have. They're more open towards trying new content out. In terms of consumption itself, they're more
Hmm.
open to the whole concept of theek hai, ye bhi dekh lete hain, why not? And now that is why there are like so many powerful characters that are coming up as well. But on a different note, Sameera, have you ever gotten criticism for the very fact that, like, have people come and told you that no, you're acting on social media as well? It's not. It's not that you're just, portraying your own self out there.
Actually, it's funny, I never got that till
You
date.
didn't? I think
Never.
then
In
that's
fact,
a big
I'm at an
achievement.
airport and I get sometimes because of COVID, I get a little scared, but I get women just charging towards me, coming to give me a hug. And I wish I could hug them back, but I'm being politically correct.
Right.
And they all feel like they know me, like I'm their yar. Like it's very interesting how I don't actually have many trolls on the page. It's unbelievable. I rarely have to delete even a comment, and those who had to go already fell off the wagon long time ago.
Right. I think that in itself is like a big achievement for you. But I mean, this has been a lovely conversation, and I think even I know you for ages, given that I have also been on your page. But this has been a lovely conversation, and I would
And I
like
have to
to
say, you've
wrap
really
it
asked
up.
me nice questions because this is exactly what it should be. We should be giving tools and insight into how to create a safe and a
Absolutely.
respectable and happy space on social media, not
Hmm.
one of anxiety and unrealistic goals.
It's just become
So,
very unnecessarily competitive instead
yes,
of a platform where you share
yeah,
memories with other people, or whatever you want to share,
exactly.
go out and share it freely. But I'll quickly wrap up the conversation with one last point, which is you've been an actress and now you've been a part of social media as Messy Mama. Do you think I mean, I'm sure there has been a change in your mantra, in your outlook, the mantra that keeps you going on days where you're like, maybe let's not do this. Maybe, we'll push
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
some
no, no,
time
no.
else.
There's only one mantra, and I say this to my manager all the time.
Right.
You take the worst situation and you turn it around. You turn it to gold because you are
Hmm.
capable of doing so. I'm never going to say, oh, life is beautiful and life is wonderful and everything's perfect. No, everything is not perfect, but
Right.
you find your way, and that
Hmm.
is your true gold right there. You just have to find it and you can do it.
That is so true. That is so true. And with that, we come to an end to this episode. It was so lovely chatting with you, Sameera. And you, for our audience out there, you were watching Clarity Amidst Clutter, CNN News 18's podcast. And this was Shriya Kundu, the host. And thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Sameera, for joining.
Thank you.